Hello everyone, my name is Abby. For those of you who are new to the channel, I make solo travel content and lifestyle content, and today I'm going to be sharing some tips with you for solo travelers. Multiple extended solo traveling trips. Last year I lived in Costa Rica for 5 months, and this past summer I went to Europe for 2 months. I did have a friend join me at the end, but it was a solo travel trip for like the first 6 weeks, I think. And so today I'm just going to talk a little bit about my experiences and just share some helpful tips for anyone who wants to solo travel. So I'll get right into kind of like the tips that I have. So the first one is pack as light as you can. I'm sure everyone in the world has already said that to you at this point, and I know you've seen those videos on TikTok with girls trying to carry their suitcases up the stairs. That was me in Europe. Don't be like me. Don't be like that. It's gonna make your traveling so much more difficult and weigh you down. So the advice that I would give is, instead of trying to put everything in like one giant suitcase or one giant backpack, do half in a medium backpack and half in a medium-sized suitcase. And it's also really convenient for like airports and train stations, because a lot of those places will have limitations, like you can only take a 40-pound bag, or there's certain size requirements or whatever. So if you do like 2 bags, 1 backpack and 1 suitcase, it's normally like a pretty good way to get around those restrictions. And it's also just easier to keep your stuff. And so that way, like, you're not digging through, taking everything out of your giant backpack just to reach something in the bottom, you know? So that's my preferred method of travel. And definitely think through everything you're packing. Ask yourself, like, am I really gonna wear this more than one time? And if the answer is no, unless you have like a specific picture in mind for that outfit, I would just leave it at home. And that's another tip I have, is to plan out all the pictures you're gonna take and all the videos and content you wanna make before you go, and even have like a list on your phone of like the pictures that you wanna take and the locations, just to save you time when you get there, and also to make sure that you have everything you need for the picture. Like, I found that when I take trips and I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna take pictures when I get there, like, it's a beautiful place, like, I'll find good locations for pictures, I'm taking lots of cute outfits, like, it's all gonna go together. For some reason, I still kind of find myself on those trips like struggling to come up with enough outfits, or I'm like, I wish I had something else when I got there, or I sort of like don't take as many pictures as I thought I would. But for this past Europe trip, like, I went ahead and thought through in my mind. I found like my inspiration pics on Insta, put them all in a folder, planned out my outfits, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna wear this outfit to the Coliseum, I'm gonna take this picture standing right next to it. Like, that might be a little excessive for some of you, but it really helped me actually get the pictures and the content done. So if you're also into making content, make sure you have a game plan thought out just a little bit in advance before you go, so that way you can spend more of your time enjoying the vacation and less time like scrambling on TikTok looking up like best picture spots in Rome next to the Colosseum. Okay, the next piece of advice I have, which I'm sure you've also heard from other people, is to stay in hostels. And I promise you, it's not as scary as it sounds. This past Europe trip was actually my first time staying in hostels, and I was pretty scared of it at first, just because I didn't really know what to expect, and I didn't know like how loud it would be, or what the bathroom situations would be like, or if it would just be kind of crazy and chaotic. But I ended up staying in really good ones. Definitely research the best hostels to stay in ahead of time. Like, go to TikTok and look up hostel recommendations in your city, and it depends on what vibe you're looking for. There's some that are like party hostels where everyone's like looking to go out, and those can get kind of loud and chaotic. And then there's some that are really chill and relaxed, and they kind of have a quiet vibe. And there's some that are like right in the middle, that are just your all around like social hostels. Those are the ones that I try to go for, because those normally have a good happy medium where people are still like really respectful and quiet in the rooms, but at the same time people are like social and wanting to make friends. So a few of the ones I stayed at would also have like game nights and pasta night, trivia night, bingo night. They had stuff going on at the hostel for everyone to participate in. And it was a really easy way to get conversation started and to meet people. And also when you're in those hostels, a lot of the people are solo travelers too, or they're there with like their one or two friends. And so most people are looking to meet new people and to talk to you. And it's normally pretty easy to find people to go hang out with that day or to bring along on your activity. So you can also sign up for group tours on Airbnb or online. And it doesn't have to be like a huge boat tour or a really expensive like bougie cruise or something like that. It can just be, I did like a pasta making class in Italy. I did a jungle night tour in Costa Rica. There's like bicycling tours, walking tours where you just walk through the city with a group of people. Some of them are pretty inexpensive, especially like the bike tours or walking tours. And if you're staying at a hostel, oftentimes the hostel organizes those group tours for people that are staying at the hostel. So definitely like check with your hotel or hostel to see if they have any of those. And it's totally fine to have an alone day too. Like some of my favorite days when I traveled to Europe were just me going by myself and walking around the city, going to a coffee shop, getting a salad, going to the gym, just doing my normal routine that I would be doing here, because sometimes I feel like it's good to reset and kind of have some downtime. And yeah, don't be afraid to just like sit down next to people and start a conversation, especially if they look like solo travelers too. Like some of the ways I've like met people while traveling is I'll be on a hike somewhere and then I'll sit down to have lunch and I'll just ask someone if I can sit with them, and then I'll just start up a conversation. Or like if you're on the bus going from place to place, or like taking a ferry ride, just sit down next to someone that also looks alone. And that's actually been one of the major ways I've met people while solo traveling. So the next category I'll talk about is how to save money in a couple of ways. So the first one is public transportation. I'm sure you've heard that one before too. If you're in Europe especially, public transportation is a great way to save money. It is way cheaper than taking Uber all over the place. Normally a train ticket is only like a €1.50 or €2 or something like that to go one way. Obviously so much cheaper than taking Ubers or taking taxis all over the place. So definitely try to figure it out. If you're in Europe, there's an app called Citymapper that will tell you which trains you need to take to get from place to place. So you kind of plug in where you are and where you're going, just like Google Maps, but it tells you like the subway trains that you need to take. And I think you can do that on Google Maps in Europe too. If you're traveling somewhere other than Europe, also look up on TikTok what apps people use in that city to get around the public transportation, because I know there's different ones for other places as well. Don't be afraid to ask people for help too. Like normally in the subway station there will be like an info desk that you can ask if you're having trouble. I definitely had to ask lots of people for help navigating the subway, especially the first day. So another big tip for saving money is to eat at the grocery stores. In Europe, their grocery stores are like way better than the ones that we have here. And they had a bunch of like pre-made salad bowls and Buddha bowls, just like lots of pre-baked food that you can pick up for pretty cheap, and it's like really healthy and fresh stuff. Our grocery stores aren't really like that, but yeah, it's way cheaper than like eating at a restaurant every day. Another thing I did once I got there, I bought like a little tiny traveling like coffee cold press or French press or whatever, and I just made my coffee in that instead of buying coffee every day, because I was over there for I think 6 or 7 weeks, and so if I had bought, you know, a latte every day, that definitely would have added up super fast. So just look for like little ways like that to save money. So the biggest question I get from like friends and family and just people that I talk to about all my travels is it safe? Especially for like a younger, smaller girl to solo travel and go to places anywhere really. I've had questions about Europe, Costa Rica. I don't know, I'm kind of like a glasses half full kind of person, and so I always expect the best outcome, and I've never really had a major run-in with safety. Of course, I haven't really been to many high crime places. I wouldn't say that Europe or Costa Rica really fall into the extremely high crime or highly dangerous category. I always take the normal precautions of like not walking alone at night, especially not in remote places, being mindful of like my drink if I go to a bar or something, and just kind of keeping a good eye on my surroundings. Take the normal precautions, but don't be like excessively worried about something going wrong. On my Europe trip, I had a lock on my suitcase, my backpack, and my camera bag. And then when I stayed in hostels, I had a lock. The hostels normally give you like a personal trunk under your bed, and then you can put a lock on it. So I would make sure my stuff was like locked up at all times and not leave anything sitting out at the hostel. And then if I went to go like sightseeing that day, I'd have my camera around my neck and my purse like in front of me, and I'd keep a hand on my purse. And then sometimes I would even put a lock like on the purse, so that way if I was like walking with my camera, it would be like locked up so nobody could try and like pickpocket it. So just be mindful, put locks on your stuff, keep a hand on your bag at all times, especially if you're in the touristy areas. Be mindful on the subways, because that is a big pickpocketing location. I have heard stories from my friends and people I've met traveling about like their stuff getting stolen or them getting pickpocketed, but that's never happened to me. So be mindful, just don't like excessively worry about it or let it keep you from traveling, because honestly, it hasn't been like overwhelmingly uncomfortable, and I've never really felt super unsafe anywhere that I've been so far. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have planned for this video. Hit that subscribe button if you thought this was helpful, and also check out my page to see some of my travel vlogs and content that I take while I'm on these trips. So make sure to check out my page if you want to see some of those, and I'll see you next time.